This is Richard Peter, the founder and president of Level 3 Ministries here in Dallas, Texas. It is Sunday, April the 5th, in the year of our Lord Jesus Christ, 2009. For a moment, I want us to be silent before the God who created all of the Big Bangs. Notice I said all of the Big Bangs. There are an infinite number of them going on. Science has shown us that there are infinitely small points of light called singularities. An infinite number of them, not just one Big Bang that causes this universe, but an infinite number of these Big Bangs that explode over all eternity and gather themselves back together again as infinite points of life and light, all within the infinite consciousness that we call God, your God and my God. Now imagine the intelligence of a God who is capable of working through the process of evolution, bringing a fish up out of the sea, giving it eventually fins that turn into legs and limbs, and eventually creates a consciousness, a human consciousness, that's able to fly to the moon and back. Would you say he's pretty intelligent? I would say so. Far beyond all human intelligence. What is his nature? His nature is total love, total goodness, total perfection, total intelligence, total power, because he's all there is. Before anything was, he is, and all things are created through him. So how do we get in touch with a being this vast? It would be like an insect trying to carry on a conversation with an elephant. Probably wouldn't get anything but a swat of an elephant's tail if this were not a God of love. Here's how you do that. You form an emptiness, a vacuum in which he can fill you with his intelligence, his life, his love, his wisdom, his law, his activity, his law of love, and his activity that always results in your health and prosperity. So I'm going to ask all of you children of this one God, Catholic, Protestant, Jew, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, whatever your religion may be, I'm going to ask that you join me this Sunday, which is here in Dallas, Texas. It's April the 5th, Sunday, in the year of our Lord Jesus Christ, 2009. I want us to take a moment of silence now. It'll be the most important moment of silence that you've ever invested. Give this great God, who is starlight, who forms himself as starlight, the opportunity to speak to us today and to set the record straight about who he is and how he can help us out of the many problems that we face as families, as cities, as nations, and as the world. Let's be silent before this God now and be empty. That's how we contact him. In the day you eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you shall surely die. I am very proud of our new President Obama and his lovely wife Michelle. They did a wonderful job in Europe. Great applause, great human adulation. But as good as the intention is of our new president to solve the problems of this world, solving them at the human level is never going to work. The nations can gather together and they can form their treaties and their agreements, their covenants, but nothing is going to happen until the root cause, until what actually causes the problem is solved. Let me give you an example. I own a condominium and it was sluggish. The toilets were sluggish flushing, and we tried various remedies inside the house, but until a company came along that specialized in discovering leaks, we at the association were not aware that what was causing it were tree branches on the outside that were pinching off and breaking the pipes that led to the city sewer system. That was the root cause. The root cause of all of the problems of this planet has been and always will be the belief in good and in evil. Now you may say to me, Richard, everywhere I look there's good and evil. The good. People buying Learjets, yachts, buying gold and silver jewelry for their lovely wives, kids graduating from college. Not so many of them nowadays with college costs skyrocketing the way they are. And yet at the same time we see wars and rumors of wars, sin, sickness, disease, death, lack, and limitation. There is good and evil. How can you deny that? Are you an ostrich putting your head in the sand? I go back again to the original statement of the God who formed starlight and who is starlight. In the day that you eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, that's a Jewish code for believing in a false doctrine, in that day you will surely die. And let me demonstrate my point. If you believe that God is separate from you in a planet called heaven, and you are down here a worm of the dust, a dust-eating worm, born of dust and destined to die of dust, then you have believed in good and evil. God, planet heaven, good. You, living here on earth, a sinner, living in sin, eating dust, and dying a painful and horrible death. Good and evil. Okay? Birth and death. It's good to be born. It's great to breathe good, fresh air. It's good to grow up. It's good to play all of the different sports. It's good to go to college. It's good to start businesses. It's good to marry and raise families. But then you grow old. You get sick. You end up on a walker. You get diagnosed with high blood pressure, stroke, kidney failure, heart disease. You end up in the hospital dying or dead or in a nursing home unable to put together an English sentence. Good and evil. Everything on this planet is a outpicturing of good and evil, and let me tell you what the root cause is. And until President Obama understands this, until the nations of the world understand it, men will always be bound up on the two horns of the devil, the belief in good and evil. I say unto you again, in the day that you eat of the knowledge of good and evil, in that day you will surely die. Let me demonstrate my point and let me hammer it home so that you'll never forget it. Man is a believing co-creator with God. Let me repeat that. Man is a believing co-creator with God. When God creates, in Genesis 1, he says, everything that I've created is good. When God stands behind his infinite awareness and forms all of these infinite points of light, he does not have a divided consciousness. He's one with himself, one with his intelligence, one with his wisdom, one with his love, one with his omnipotence, one with his omnipresence, one with his omniscience, one with his infinite law of love and activity, one with perfection, one with eternal health and prosperity, one because he is the original one, the original perfect, totally all good God. Then all of the universes that are formed that are not prison planets the way Earth is form themselves logically out of the extension of his infinite consciousness that does not entertain the belief in good and evil, because God's eyes are too pure to behold iniquity. God's belief system does not allow for one particle of evil. If he did, he would destroy himself. That's the kind of power he has. But Lucifer and a third of the angels who wanted to rebel against God came and infected the human mind is like a computer. You can be infected with viruses, and that virus of good and evil was implanted in the early race. Adam and Eve were actually a collection of families. Lucifer and the fallen angels were actually inhabitants of other planets. They were called angels, or they were called beings that came from the sky, but they were basically just astronauts from more advanced planets and civilizations. They wanted to control the human planet. They wanted to use these creatures that were evolving into the image and likeness of God. They wanted to use them to mine gold and to be their eternal slaves. And today, the extension of that is we're still mining gold for them, only it's not real. Yeah, it's real gold for them. It's funny money, paper money for us. And there are other tapes that I've made on this subject as well. The point I'm making is this. Man is a co-creating, believing son or daughter of God. What you think and entertain in your inmost heart is done unto you on the outside, because the universe is extremely plastic. Have you ever played with silly putty? That putty forms into the to the very shape that you give it. A sculpture is a perfect example. A sculptor, he takes raw clay and forms it into beautiful forms, according to his belief, according to the image that he has in his mind. Well, we have that ability. And in the day that we believe in both good and evil, we create those forms of good and evil, the way back to perfection and the solution of all of the problems of the world. And until Obama and all the world leaders understand this, nothing is going to be solved. You come back to the perfect garden, that single point of light, where you understand that God, the infinite good, is present in and through your consciousness, and there is not one particle of evil in him. You trust me on this. You follow what I'm saying, and you will find that your family, your job, your career, your world of affairs will reflect the goodness of God. Thank you, and God bless you.